Chapter 6, Nature's Warnings. In these moments of global crisis, scientists have discovered with astonishment that the magnetic pole of the compass does not coincide with the physical north pole of the Earth. One thing is the magnetic pole and another is the physical pole. Without a doubt, the axis of the Earth are now modifying their inclination. Consequently, every minute the poles are consecutively deviating towards the equator. These very remarkable geological changes have an exclusively cosmic origin. However, these can be accelerated by the scientific masses of the intellectual animal through his atomic experiments or through the frightening explosions of the hydrogen bomb. Thus, in the manner that this impending doom is progressing, it is reasonable to be familiar with the idea of the revolution of the axis of the Earth as an inevitable catastrophe that will convert the poles into the equator and the latter into the poles. Where today only enormous icebergs exist, tomorrow enormous and profound equatorial jungles will exist, and vice versa. The present equatorial lands will be the icebergs of the future. The revolution of the axis of the Earth is a natural cosmic phenomenon that can be accelerated by the scientific madness of the intellectual animal. In a very abrupt way, the revolution of the axis of the Earth finished off with the infamous Atlantis. It is very intriguing and significant that rain is falling on the Sahara Desert and in many other places where rain has not fallen before. It has been confirmed that the ice of the North Pole is melting, and that the consequence of this phenomenon brings upon the terrible hurricanes and cyclones that are presently lashing out at the world. Let us remember the cyclones that lashed out against the coast of Sonora, Mexico, and Manzanillo in the Pacific Ocean, and all the other cyclones that have devastated Japan and the United States and so on. Earthquakes are now occurring in a continuous manner. These earthquakes are showing us that within the interior of this afflicted planet in which we live, the planetary fire has entered into terrible agitation. As soon as Turkey trembles, so does India today. North America trembles, and tomorrow Italy, Central America, and South America, etc. And ancient volcanoes are like dormant lions that are beginning to awaken from their millenarian dreams and are beginning to roar. Let us call to mind Fuji in Japan, Etna, and many other volcanoes that exist. Let us remember how Vesuvius finished off Pompeii. The most intriguing of all is that the old lions are not the only ones that are awakening. Besides them, new volcanoes have been born, some with a fleeting life, others with a more powerful life. Let us mention, for instance, Paracuten, or Parisuten in Mexico, and the other one in the cold and martyrized land of Siberia. With infinite astonishment, explorers have found lakes with warm water in the South Pole, lakes that are getting bigger and bigger as each day passes. Without a doubt, the growth of these lakes is due to very intense subterranean activity, whose development stretches far away. These volcanoes are now erupting in the South Pole, in Antarctica, and they are spewing a very special type of rare lava. Nonetheless, some nations have now hurriedly placed their flags on that continent. How imprudent humanity is. All of these phenomena of Antarctica invite us to think. There is no doubt that the recent earthquakes of Chile, which also shook the bottom floor of the Pacific Ocean all the way to Japan, are intimately associated with the catastrophic processes of the South Pole. The final outcome of all this has to be frightful. It has been proven in a definite way that in the Gulf of Guinea, which is located over the equator, there are certain water currents that coming from the Atlantic Ocean that have been uncommonly warmed. Or rather, uncommonly warmed. These water currents flow in the well-known Gulf Stream towards the north. Here they have been secretly undermining the ice, fractioning the icebergs, which then travel in chunks towards the equator in expedient urgency in order to fill the emptiness left behind the extreme evaporation. There is no doubt that this creates current inverse to the Gulf Stream. This inverse current is very cold and fundamentally alters the climate of the coastlines, which it flows through. Thus, life is finally given to cyclones, hurricanes, terrible windstorms, torrential rains, and every type of climatology disturbance, which are presently causing great alarm to the whole human race. Profound investigations allow us to logically deduce that these uncommon waters, which are being warmed up near the equator, are intimately related with the volcanoes of Antarctica. By all means, it is clear to comprehend that the warm currents of the Pacific Ocean, as a final resort comes from Alaska. These waters arrive at the Gulf of Guinea and create an elevation in the temperature of the equator. Common sense, as someone once said, should be the most common of the senses. It allows us to comprehend that these currents of warmed water, when arriving at the North Pole, have to undermine the enormous icebergs, thus reducing, in the already mentioned Gulf Stream, those previously compact icebergs. The enigmatic volcanoes of the South Pole will intensify their igneous activities. Thus, consequently, the lakes with warm waters from Antarctica will grow excessively. Each day, the marine currents will become even hotter, and this will allow them to penetrate more and more powerfully within the solemn icebergs of the North Pole until eventually achieving the total meltdown of ice. It will be an absurdity to suppose that the South Pole, with its erupting volcanoes, will remain in a non-modified state. It is clear that its ice will melt just like the ice of the North Pole, thus the outcome would be an apocalyptic horror. Logic makes us comprehend that when the polar ice has melted, the maritime waters will increase in volume, and that if the receptacle, the cup, the marine floor, is not deep enough, then the waters shall have to spread out to overflow, to inundate the lands, thus swallowing up entire countries. This is obvious. Let us remember what we already stated in the 1967 Christmas message. The sea has lost profundity in diverse parts of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and the bottom of the ocean floor has been continuously rising up towards the surface. In other words, the profundity of certain seas has decreased. Without even the tiniest amount of fear of being found mistaken, we can asseverate with complete solemnity that the cause of this formidable marine crack is found in the volcanic activity of the South Pole. Based on what we have already stated in this chapter and former chapters, we can be certain that the earth will rebound again to a primeval age where the existence of OI, of any kind of animal life, will be impossible. The Nahuas, the Aztec masters, said that the children of the first sun, the first root race of protoplasmic polar type, were devoured by tigers. The Aztecs said that the children of the third sun perished by the sun raining down fire upon them, and they transformed themselves into birds. The children of the third sun were the Lemurians, whose continent situated in the Pacific Ocean was destroyed by earthquakes and volcanoes. The Aztecs said that the children of the fourth sun, the fourth root race, were swallowed up by the waters, and they converted themselves into fish. The Aztecs said that the children of the fifth sun, the fifth Aryan root race, will perish by that which is called movement or earthquakes. The sacred scriptures of the Aztecs did not give any symbol to the degenerated humans of our present fifth root race, as they did for the previous root races. However, the Christian gospel gives the symbol of sheep, and for the saved ones and goats, for almost all of the human beings in the Aryan root race. The Aztecs said that in the epoch of the children of the sixth sun, the sixth root race gods will appear, or resurrect rather. The Nahuas, Aztecs masters, have prophesied ineffable things for the seventh root race, for the children of the seventh root race.